How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Welcome to the Deliberate Millionaire podcast. I'm Rosemary Nonya Knight, the Prosperity Minister, and I support ambitious spiritual people to manifest, create, and keep the money, the resources they need to live luxuriously in their purpose. Listen in. I'll see you at the end. Let's read the divine download. Release your limited ideas of what has gone before. Release any limiting interpretations of the past. Through the past, the present, the future all exist. Though the past, the present, the future all exist in this moment, you can choose where you would rather place your focus. Hear that. The past, the present, the future all exist in this moment. As deliberate millionaires, as spiritual people, start to think in terms of the wide open space present moment. The wide open space present moment, where the past, the present, and the future all exist at the exact moment. Some of your ideas about karma, some of your ideas about previous lives and all of that stuff, some of your ideas about ultimately consequences and results. When you do something, you get a result in the future. You might have to rethink them if the past, the present, and the future are all happening in this moment. It's just that we have chosen to be here in this physical reality, and therefore time and space exist in this physical reality, but they don't really exist anywhere else. There's an eternal now moment. That's why I call the wide open space now. Even I can't completely get my head around it. I just know it's true. That's an eternal now moment. Okay? Just think about that. Anyway, just as I read that, it just made me think about that. And there are things you do not currently understand. And when you try to interpret events from your limited perspective, you inevitably restrict your ability to expand into a new level. You must see things through my eyes. And when uncertain how to do that, ask me to show you and hold to the vision you can see clearly. And hold to the vision you can see clearly. I keep breaking in, but it's just when things occur to me. Hold to the vision you can see clearly. So, what was said before? When you're uncertain how to do that, so you must see things through my eyes. And when uncertain how to do that, ask me to show you. So yes, ask for guidance on how to see things through the divine's eyes. But then also hold to the vision you can see clearly. You know, there are times when you have these high moments and you really are absolutely sure that the thing that you have decided to create is an absolutely done deal. Those are the moments when you want to hold on to the vision, not when you're feeling doubt and, I just don't think I can do anything. Those moments, you don't want to be then trying to figure out what your vision is or anything. No, you want to go back to the moments when you felt so sure about what it is that you're doing and all that you're expecting to have happen in the world and all of that or in your life. So yes, hold to the vision you can see clearly. See me as very responsive. That's the divine saying to you. See the divine as very responsive to you. Though a lot of you, when he said a lot of you here, I know he was saying, or they were saying, you, not a lot as in a lot of people, you, but a whole lot of your personality, your personhood may doubt that the divine is a responsive being when interpreted from past experiences with the divine. But then you keep creating what you perceive, so choose very carefully what you want to focus on. Always leave room for the what if it could be better? What if it is meant to be better? And then decide what your preference is and hold to that. Okay, so that's the divine download. So let me. I kind of broke it down a little bit, so we'll go through a few ideas here. As deliberate millionaires, we understand this. The past does not have any authority over you. The past only has influence if you keep assigning it meaning, and you're the meaning maker. You are the meaning maker of everything that happens in your life. The past, the present, that I already said this, the past, the present, and the future all exist in the eternal now, the wide open space now. But what you choose to focus on is your choice. And it determines whether you allow yourself to keep expanding or you stagnate. So it's not about denying your past, because the past, it does exist in the very present now. But it is about how are you interpreting that past. And also, if you have interpreted it in a way that is not helpful to you, is it helpful to continue to interpret it that way and focus on it anyway? Because it really is about ending your addiction to interpreting things or events in ways that limit you. Yeah? Now, the divine makes it clear there are things that you don't currently understand. And when you interpret the events from a limited perspective, or And when I say that, yeah, there are things you don't currently understand, not in your current aware self does not understand it. And when you interpret events from that limited perspective, you do restrict your ability to expand. And also remember this, one person's horrid is another person's woohoo, okay? Nothing has meaning until you give it one. So deliberate millionaires do not confuse experience with interpretation or events with conclusions, okay? They're just events, they're just experiences. Until you give it a meaning, it doesn't mean anything. Until you decide, oh, this is the end and I can't actually achieve what I want, it hasn't ended. It was you that at some point decides, I'm just not able to do this. It's not going to happen. You are the one deciding what these things mean. So for example, there's the story of, two travelers caught in the same storm. So one person is cursing the rain. This always happens to me. The weather is always against me. This is proof that the divine is against me and I should not move forward, because if not, then the rain would not be here and all of that. Okay? And then the other person is just smiling and thinking, hey, good. There's going to be fewer people on the road. The ground is going to be softer, so it'll be easier for me to walk. And it's going to slow everybody else down, so I'll be able to speed forward. And it's the same storm, the same event, but each person is adding a different meaning to it. And because of the meaning they're giving something, it's like, in this, the economy, some people are interpreting the economy as, oh my God, there are no jobs, everything is shrinking, oh, the taxes are increasing, which, okay, maybe. But other people are interpreting it as, oh, there's opportunity. What can I do here? Blah, 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 blah. And they're looking at things from a different perspective. What perspective would you rather have? Because if you are one who's thinking, oh, everything is always against me, guess what you won't do? You won't try anything, because to you it's a foregone conclusion. I'm not going to get the job. There's just no jobs going around. What's the point? You will slow yourself down, because inside of you, there's a part of you thinking, what's the point? Whereas somebody who is looking at things and looking at, oh my God, there's opportunity everywhere. There's people thinking that there's nothing, so let me go get the everything. They are people that are enthusiastically getting out into the world and seeing opportunities for advancement and choosing to put themselves in that position to receive that opportunity. So it does matter how you interpret events. It really does matter, because events, ultimately, they're neutral. It's your interpretation that is creative, okay? It is your interpretation that is creative. And unfortunately for us, a lot of us, whether you're aware of it or not, can be quite addicted to drama. You may be someone who is always looking for sympathy. Listen, there's no judgment from me, because I can be that person too, where I can take one little story, one little something, and turn it into something that you're telling forever, because you want people to feel sorry for it. And sometimes it feels like the only way you can get attention is to have some kind of a sad story. And so it also gives you a reason for why your life hasn't worked in the way that you want it to. And that reason is always something outside of you. Because this happened to me, that's why this is not working in the way I would like, you see? And so and we get bored when nothing is happening, so then you start creating drama. So that's what I say, we get addicted to drama. We're addicted to people feeling sorry for us, and we can be addicted to having a reason why life hasn't worked out, so then we don't have to take full responsibility for it. And it justifies your delaying, and as I say, it protects you from responsibility. But the truth of the matter is, we deliberate millionaires, we know that we are the authority in our lives, right? So there's nothing, we can tell stories if we want to, but you know that you are the authority in your life. Now, this doesn't have to be a thing of, oh, let me make myself feel horrible, let me judge myself because I'm obviously horrible. No, we're not going there. But we are owning the fact that sometimes we can be a little bit dramatic. We can take something and make it into something a heck of a lot worse. And sometimes you might feel like you're completely justified. Are you though? And more to the point, even if you are justified, is it helpful? That's the question. Is it helpful? Do you want to stay in the underground, or would you rather go up to your throne? I understand sometimes it just feels like I'm just tired and I just want a reason to be tired. I get it. And you know what? Sometimes take a moment, take a nap, take a break, but then get up. You are a deliberate millionaire. We live life deliberately, And so, at some point, it's just like enough. We can't stay in this place of continually feeling sorry for ourselves, because it doesn't actually move anything. You will be loved, whatever you choose to do, But is it what you're choosing to do, or are you being a little bit passive here? Okay. Again, no judgment. Take a moment, take a break, but then get up, get up, get up, get up. Do the daily ritual. It will help. It will make you feel better. Write out your affirmations a few times. It will make you remember why you need to get up. Okay. So, use the structures in this group. It will, in abundance, it will help you to rise above the noise, the nonsense of the past, ultimately. Now, the divine also reminds us from that divine download that we don't see the full picture. And we can't always understand everything from our current vantage point. And it's not a flaw, okay? It's just a signal to realize that we can shift perspective. We don't have to double down on old conclusions, because maybe there was a different story to be told. Sometimes when I'm doing healing with people, I help them, I ask them to close their eyes and imagine the situation that is giving them a lot of trouble, and ask them to invite the divine into that situation and check to see where the divine was when this was happening. And for some people, that can be quite healing, because they suddenly realize that the divine saw it completely different from the way that they were. You could try that. Go into your safe space with the divine and bring up the movie of this event that is causing you lots of trouble, and ask the divine, where were you in this? What from your perspective, what was happening here? You may get something completely new. In fact, you almost always definitely get a new perspective if you allow yourself to hear it. Sometimes if a story is particularly precious to you, it can be really difficult to hear it. And that's when, a private session is usually helpful, or bring stuff into the group. But you can still try this stuff on your own as well, because it is possible. All these things are possible. You can do all of these things. Yeah. And ask the divine to see things through the divine's eyes. So, and if you're not sure how to do that, ask for support around this. Understand this is your life. So you can ask for everything. You can ask for all the support you need, or you can keep trying to do it all on your own. The divine will never force themselves upon you. So you need to ask. So if there's anything you would like to know, anything you'd like to understand, ask the divine for it, and then be open to receiving the answer. Yeah. You don't need, ultimately, and as I was saying earlier, hold the vision for what you actually do want. You don't need to completely understand how this thing that happened, that's causing you trouble, is going to somehow lead to your vision. You just need to know that everything works out for your good one way or the other, because it does. I don't say these things lightly. I have to say them many, many times, because I have to hear them many, many times. And I know that you probably need to hear them many, many times. And the different ways that I say things to you, they'll land in different ways until one day you have a real true glimpse of something completely different. And that's the point of all of this: immersion in a different way of thinking, immersion in a different vibe, so that you start to approach your life from a completely different place, and you expand your capacity to hold prosperity. That is the goal here. That is the goal here. And that's why we keep doing all this stuff. Or at least that's why I'm doing it. Ultimately, you don't need to know the whole story from the beginning. You just need to know that I'm moving towards the thing that I have desired. And so you just need the first step. The first step is always available. The next step is always available. I think we even said this yesterday. Just ask the question, what is the best, most joyous thing that I can do to move my vision forward? Or remember, do the obvious next thing. That's it. And remember, the divine is very responsive to you. It's just sometimes either your interpretation of what the divine is can mean that you feel a little bit afraid to ask for support, or you don't expect to get support. And sometimes there's also a brand of spirituality that really doesn't want to depend on anything external. Well, and it's not really external, is it? The divine is not really external, although the divine is external and internal and everything. So, but sometimes there's, as I say, there's a kind of you may have been taught in your brand of spirituality that it's just you. It's just you working things out. It isn't ever just you working things out. It can be, if that's what you would prefer. But why would you prefer that when you are one with the divine, powerful, limitless, and never alone? Why would you prefer that? It makes no sense to me personally, but if you've had experiences, because it's like, I remember when my dad died, even though I've known the divine forever, I kind of blame the divine a little bit, because I wasn't even close to my dad that much, really. But I think because I wasn't that close to my dad, I had always thought I was going to have time to sort out our relationship. And then he died. And I felt really angry at the divine. In fact, at that point I was going to church all the time, so I stopped going to church because I didn't want anything. But within a week I was back at church because I was like, well, I need the divine because because where am I going to go for comfort anyway? So I was like, oh, fine, I may be angry with you, but I'm going back to church. Okay, but I did feel abandoned by the divine at that point. I really did, and it was actually at a church. I remember listening to Brian Houston at that point talking about hope, and that really, really, really spoke to me and really knocked me out of that feeling of I was feeling quite hopeless. So listening to him speak about hope, I knew it was a divine moment for me. I happened to go to Hillsong in London that day, and he was there. It was amazing. But anyway, I interpreted that event as divine abandoning me. But but again, obviously he hadn't. But at that time, I felt that way. And I've spoken to a lot of people who do feel as though the divine abandons them at their time of need. It's just a perception again. It's a meaning you have given to an event that, well, if we had a private session, chances are I would be able to help you see things differently if you were willing. Because I'm not one for arguing with somebody if they have a particular way of looking at life, because I can never argue anybody into a better way of looking at life, because if anything, they're just going to hold on to their position even harder. So I just generally like, well, if that's what you want to believe, that's absolutely fine. But if you're open to seeing things differently, I can help you. Okay? But you might have interpreted past experiences with the divine as abandonment, as silence, as disappointment in you, or maybe you got ill, and so there's a part of you thinking that the divine has abandoned you because how could you be ill? And then again, it's a meaning that we've given to illness. Sometimes that illness is always some kind of punishment or something. Is it though? Is it though? Is it just your body correcting stuff, basically? But anyway, again, the meaning we give things can not only affect us, but it affect our relationship with the divine as well, because of the meaning we've taken onto something. Which is why we do want to, as much as possible, practice asking the divine for support to see through the divine's eyes. How are you seeing this situation? And to the best of your abilities, try to witness the situation rather than interpret the situation. Because sometimes our interpretations, we're so used to interpreting in a way that does not support our growth, does not support our happiness even. And so then we set ourselves up for disaster. Again, ask the divine for help to see things differently, ultimately. Ask the divine for help to see things differently, and leave room, as the divine download says, leave room for what if it could be better? What if it is meant to be better? And then decide what you would prefer to see something else. Because understand that every interpretation you have of a thing is just an interpretation. Whether it's a happy interpretation or a sad interpretation, it's an interpretation. So, and you live from that interpretation. So you can create any interpretation that makes you happy. You can see things anyhow you like. And why not choose to see things in a way that feels better? So decide what you prefer. Decide how you would prefer to perceive this situation. Stop this whole, oh, I'm just being realistic. Really? Because again, somebody else can look at that situation and see it completely different. So who is being realistic? Who is the realistic person? The one who sees it in a way that empowers themselves, or the one that sees it in a way that disempowers them? Because it's all ultimately a creation that we've all made. So that this person has made a creation that empowers them, and this person has created an interpretation that disempowers them. So who is right? Who is right? Who is realistic? What is realistic? Really? So, I would say be more careful or be more deliberate about how you interpret the events of your life. Choose to find a better interpretation. For one, it will help your nervous system. Okay, it will help your emotional everything if you're interpreting things from a more empowered state. It will help you. And ultimately, isn't that the point? To help you live the life you're meant for, to help you not get bogged down in interpretations that make you think that it's over and there's nothing you can do anymore. You're alive, of course there's always something you can do, but if you keep interpreting things in a way that disempowers you, you will take yourself out of the race. Let's stop doing that. Again, sometimes you just need a break. Take your break, but then get yourself up and realize I am a deliberate millionaire. It's not the end till I say it's the end. What I decree must come to pass. Okay, you do not have to stay loyal to old interpretations of anything. You choose your focus, and your future will generally follow from that interpretation. So decide what you prefer, and don't argue with yourself about it. Decide what you prefer. Realistic, whatever. Who decides what is realistic, really? And if you're ready to take your first step onto the Deliberate Millionaire path to a free, fulfilled, financially abundant, love-drenched life, then number one is to go get the I Am the Authority affirmation songs and meditation program. Link is going to be in the description around this video, audio, whatever. Or if you would prefer to be in touch with me privately, then there will also be a link in the description. It's been a pleasure sharing all of this with you. Again, go forth and prosper. Much love.